Welcome to our Devos. This week we have been talking about that difficult area that we don't like to talk about, and that is when we make a mistake. Because we make mistakes, right? I make mistakes, you make mistakes, like we all do. And sometimes those mistakes involve hurting other people. When we hurt other people, there has to be a way that we deal with that honors God, and it really does. So today, I want to talk to you about how when you are trying to restore someone, and when you're trying to get forgiveness from someone, you need to be patient with the process of forgiveness. Sometimes, and I'm just going to be honest, sometimes you hurt somebody so much that they want to forgive you because they know it's the right thing, but it hurts too much. I'm just going to lay it out there. If you've ever cheated on your spouse, and I've dealt with a lot of people that have, that's going to be a process. Don't come home and be like, I cheated on you, you have to forgive me because Jesus says. It doesn't work like that. Forgiveness is a process. That person can decide and choose to forgive you, but you have to be patient with them working through the pain of what your sin has caused them. That happens with words that we say. Sometimes we say horrible things to our spouses. Sometimes we say horrible things about other people and it comes back. And if you ask their forgiveness, if you humble yourself, and they're like, I'm not ready to let this go, you have to be patient with that. There's situations I've been involved in with the church where I feel like I didn't handle it well. I mean that. I'm not just saying it in generality. There's specific things I'm thinking. And at times, I will look at my virtue of saying, I'm sorry, and I admit that maybe I didn't do this the right way, as being just enough. But you know what? That's not my call to make. That person has to make their own choice as to whether or not they're going to forgive me. And it's my job to be patient as they work through the process of forgiveness. As Christians, often we assume that we are the ones that have the right to say that you need to forgive me. And that's just not the way we ought to look at it when we make a mistake. Instead, we ought to be patient. Just as God is patient with us when we make mistakes, that God allows us to confess our sins to Him, that God allows us to come back to Him, even though we constantly and repeatedly break His heart in different areas. So, as we look at this, I want you to think about this. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant. You know, we read this in weddings, but I really wish that couples, instead of reading this at weddings, would read this before they're announced that it's about time for them to think about divorce. You see, love requires that we take our time and recognize that the other person is just as frail as we are. Now, I want you to put that shoe on the other foot and realize that you may have hurt somebody. You may have gotten up the nerve to even do as Jesus says and try to make it right and try to say you're sorry and try to get to the place where you ask their forgiveness. And they might not give it to you. My suggestion to you is be patient. Be patient. Just because you are excited that you can ask their forgiveness doesn't mean that they have to grant it to you. Yes, we can argue that Jesus says that they have to forgive you, but that's not a clause for you to demand it. So my encouragement to you is this: be patient. The hurt that you cause someone might not go away in a day, and their forgiveness might not come to you in a day either.